to Social Media Apps Programming Module 4. This is the fourth topics, but this is the fifth weeks. Today we are going to talk about how to build your mobile apps. Previous 2 weeks, we have some experience on developing native apps, especially you have some experience by using Java for developing your Android apps. And last week, you have some experience on using Swift programming language for developing your iPhone or iOS apps. Today, we're going to talk about how to move from the native apps into web app and then into hybrid apps for the cross-platform applications developments. Today's topics will be mobile apps using HTML5, CSS3, and JavaScript. So you have some experience on what is the native apps developing paradigm, and will you be using the design pattern, especially model view controller, to design a mobile apps and then to convert it into hybrid apps for cross-platform. So today's topics will move to our focus to mobile apps, web apps. And as you can see here, this is today's topics, focus on web application, and the device access is partial, and the speed is fast, and the development cost, especially development cost, is reasonable. That is the key issue for developing enterprise-wide application. It is the time, cost, or time to market is very important, and it is also we can convert it into hybrid app and then publish to app stores. And for the web application, there is no need for approval. Yep. So the outline for today will be mobile app, especially web application. And you can see we will talk about how to design our content and structures in HTML5, Hypertext Markup Language version 5, starting from 2014, and we'll be using CSS3 Cascading Style Sheet version 3 for your beautiful user interface for presentation, layout, and user interface. So it is very important for the user interface design by using Cascading Style Sheet. So this is the user interface for beautiful icons, beautiful color, scheme, layout. So this is CSS3. And for JavaScript, it's designing your business logic. For example, you design your program if then else, or your access to your database or to the cloud, that is behavior and business logic. So this is today's topics. We'll be focusing on how to design your first mobile apps. As you can see, we can use HTML5, CSS3, and Java for building Android apps and also building iPhone apps with the same web technology. And you can also see there is a book called Learn HTML5 and JavaScript for iOS, and this is a web standard-based application for iPhone, iPad, and iPod Touch. So here you can see there is a www.learnhtml5book.com, and you can see a lot of examples. So here is a real-world example size like this, and especially there is an M, meaning that it's mobile version. So for mobile web, is a mobile website, is a classical website like this, right? And here is the mobile application, look like this. This is a web application. And we'll be using responsive web design pattern, RWD, for design our mobile apps with the frameworks. So here is the mobile websites, classic websites. As you can see, it's traditional one. And when you are using the responsive web design and also the mobile user interface framework, you will be converting your HTML5-based web technology into web apps like user um, like mobile application user interface. Right, here is the RWD, responsive web design patterns. So please take a look by visiting this web page from your browser. There is a learn-html5book.com. Yep. Please take a look of what does this looks like by visiting www.learn-html5book.com. Please visit this website by visiting page number 10 in our slides. You will see Learn HTML5 and JavaScript for iOS. Have you access to these websites already? The URL here is Learn HTML5 book www.learn-html5book.com, and you'll see this page. Have you visited this web page already? Yep. And please click. There is a grandviewweb.com /n. This is give you some experience on what is mobile applications looks like. This is Grandview Avenue site. It looks like a guide tool for a shopping mall, right? Wow, it's not available now. Yeah, it's Grandview.in. Well, it's not available. It's coming back available. Yeah. Oh, yeah, just skip it. It is an example of how to use web technology for like shopping mall, business directory, and some information for the department store or shopping mall. Yep, it's Grandview. It's a business directory, so you can provide some good information for your users. So let's give you some examples. Next, I will introduce you what is mobile web apps and its technologies. We have already introduced you the design patterns, right? Could you please tell me what is the important information from these figures? Emily, could you please tell us what is the key information we have introduced you from this mobile web apps? Would you please tell us from this slide, this figure? For web technologies, what are the core technologies for developing your web app? What are the core technologies? There are three core technologies for developing web technologies, for developing web applications. What are the core three technologies? Web technology, or we call it WT, web technology. What is web technology? Is it Swift? Is it Java? It's HTML5, right? And that is the first technology, HTML5, right? And what is the second technology? What is the second technology? Sorry? JavaScript, right? Yes, very good. JavaScript. And what is this number three or third technology? CSS3. Yeah, very good. Yeah. Web technology stands for three technologies. The first is HTML5. Second will be JavaScript, and the third will be the CSS3. Yeah. I have one question for Emily Chen. And for HTML5, what can we use HTML5 for presenting data? What will we use in HTML5 in web technologies? We use HTML5 for user interface, or we use HTML5 for presenting our business logic, or HTML5 stands for the content and structure. Which one? There are three technologies, right? This content and structures, right? For the content, meaning that, for example, your text or your number, that is your content. Content is king. For example, your name appeared on the websites. That is content. For example, some text and some number. That is content or the structure. And how about CSS3? What will be using CSS3 for doing the user interface or the business logic? User interface, right? And how about JavaScript? Yes, so you write your business logic. For example, you're calculating your BMI. You are using JavaScript for writing your business logic. And for allocating or represent the user interface, for example, some icon here, and the color is pink, or it's yellow, or it's pink, or it's red, or green, that is CSS3. And for the content, meaning the layout, the structures, it is HTML5. So we are talking about these three technologies for developing our web app and also hybrid app throughout this semester in this course. So here are three important technologies: HTML5, CSS3, and JavaScript. However, please do not build in your applications from scratch. You don't need to build your apps from zero. Please use a good framework as your backend. That is the fundamental part, the bottom. You have to use the powerful library like jQuery mobile as your mobile frameworks and library. You don't need to write a lot of .js. You don't need a lot of CSS3. What you have to do is to design your content and structures, and also use the powerful CSS3, CSS, and JavaScript provided by mobile frameworks and libraries. And you can also use templates as your backend to design your HTML5 content and structure. So this is the whole structures, and you can also use phone data and external data by using JavaScript for writing your business logic and presenting your data. So here is the JavaScript, CSS, and HTML5. For designing HTML5 based application, mobile apps, we'll be using model view controller design pattern as well, like we use in developing iOS or Android with Java. It's almost the same, but MVC framework of mobile apps will be using HTML5, CSS3, and JavaScript. So this here is the MVC framework. Fundamental part is JavaScript, because because that is business logic, right? And you have model, view, and controller. We call MVC design pattern. For the model, meaning that you connect to your data or your database or your external data. That is, you will be using JavaScript for your model, meaning that you will be using backend RESTful API.js to connect it to backend server, backend database server, or not only SQL server. So this backend RESTful API, and here is web storage API, also connected to storage in the cloud. So here is your model connected to your data. And let's talk about MVC, V. For the view, meaning that the user interface, we can use template by using JavaScript and UI framework as well as JavaScript with some CSS. So here is your view. And for the last one is controller. Controller meaning that the messaging for all the user interface for all your application, that is controller, JavaScript. So model view controller for the connecting is business logic by using JavaScript. But on top of this MVC, there are HTML5 boilerplate. You can use HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So this is the MVC in the context of mobile web application. So let's talk about the mobile frameworks and libraries. First, I will introduce you the most dominant frameworks, that is jQuery mobiles. It is a touch-optimized web frameworks. And jQuery mobile is HTML5-based user interface system. Notice here, it is user interface system, UI system. It's all about mobile UI and designed to make responsive web sites and responsive web application that are accessible on all smartphone, tablet, and desktop devices. So once you're using jQuery mobiles, your applications can run on desktop, iPhone device, Android device, and many devices cross-platform. So here is a jQuery mobile, and you can also use Bootstrap. Bootstrap is a responsive mobile-first project on the web, and a lot of modern technologies or modern startups are using Bootstrap. Let's say, for example, our TKU official website are using the framework Bootstrap. I have one question for you. Have you ever tried to use Bootstrap before? Bootstrap, have you ever used? Yep. Bootstrap, there are a lot of startup new company using Bootstrap instead of jQuery mobiles. Why they are using Bootstrap? Because it is the world's most popular front-end component library. Mostly, a lot of startup companies in front of using Bootstrap, it will design their modern look websites, web page, and also their web page are accessible into iPhone or Android device. So Bootstrap is an open source toolkit for developing with HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and especially it's quickly prototype your ideas or building your entire application with its SAS variables and mixins. So it's responsive grid systems and extensive pre-built components and powerful plugin built on top of jQuery. Notice here, Bootstrap also built on top of jQuery. And jQuery mobile also built on top of jQuery. I have one question to our students. Do you know what is jQuery? Sylvia, do you know what is jQuery? Have you ever tried to use jQuery? You know? Yeah. jQuery is very important, especially you are designing enterprise or company official websites as well as official mobile application on the web. jQuery, in a sense, is a lot of JavaScript function. JavaScript library is JS. So let's talk about what is jQuery, because Bootstrap or jQuery mobile is a mobile version of jQuery. So let's talk about jQuery first. It's a library. Libraries meaning that a lot of function. jQuery, here is jQuery. jQuery is designed especially for web application, and is the feature-rich JavaScript library, meaning that you can find a lot of business logic or behavior control, behavior effects by using jQuery. So Bootstrap using jQuery as its fundamental parts. So this is like jQuery. And if you are using like Spider or Crawler to design it, to collect data from the web, you have to deal with, and you have to know what is jQuery, because it is rendering all the pages by using JavaScript. So it's a collection of JavaScript library. So this is the jQuery, and Bootstrap also built on top of jQuery. So now you know what is Bootstrap, and you know jQuery mobile is a framework. Frameworks meaning a set of library, a lot of functions, open source, already developed. You don't need to rewrite on your own. Just use the function. Right? Another famous frameworks for mobile and desktop called Angular or AngularJS. This is AngularJS. Have you ever been to use AngularJS? No. AngularJS is also a famous developed across all platforms. So the keywords here for the frameworks is cross-platform on all platforms, meaning that running on desktop browser, on PC or laptop, iPhone, Android phone, iPad or Android pad. So it's cross-platform. And another library I will introduce you will be React. That is a JavaScript library for building user interface, that's UI. So React, so you will know that React is also a very famous one called React.js. So React makes it painless to create interactive user interface. So the user interface or behavior controls is perfect. So this is the React interface, interactive user interface, and design simple view for each step in your application, and React will efficiently update and rendering on your application. So this is React. And another, the same is by using JavaScript. So you write your JavaScript code as running on native or on the backend server called React Native. So learn once, write anywhere, and build mobile apps with React. Because React, the fundamental programming language, is JavaScript. It's not Java, it's not C, it's not C++, or not C Sharp, or Swift. It's JavaScript. So you can write your JavaScript code on client side as well as on server side. So that is React Native. So React Native, that you build your mobile application using only JavaScript, not Java, not Swift. It's JavaScript, and use the same design as React.js, and letting you compose a rich mobile user interface from declarative components. So this is React.native or React Native. And the final, I think this is the final frameworks I would like to introduce you. That is the new and it's emerging JS, this JavaScript good frameworks. It is progressive JavaScript framework. And before, for the web technology, we'll be using responsive web design or RWD. However, nowadays a lot of cross-platform applications are using progressive web. Progressive is proposed by Google, and you can see progressive looks like cross-platform. It performs very well. For example, you are using a lot of Google Cloud platforms. They're using progressive JavaScript framework. So, or this is approachable, already known HTML5CSS3, and you can just jump into Vue.js, and it is performant, it's concise JavaScript frameworks. There is Vue.js. So let's recap. We have already introduced some famous framework, JavaScript framework for writing your mobile apps, especially JavaScript frameworks. You know what is Vue.js and React.js and AngularJS, Bootstrap.js, jQuery Mobile.js. So this is all fundamental JavaScript framework for especially for mobile or web frameworks and libraries. So it's a collection of library you can choose from. You can find out which platform you prefer. But in this course, we will recommend you to use the most famous one called jQuery Mobile. Alright, now you have already known the frameworks, but if you would like to convert your mobile apps into hybrid app, you will be using Phonegap. It's a mobile app powered by open web technology. So you can build amazing mobile apps powered by open web technologies. What is open web technologies? Meaning HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So it's web technologies. And there are also another one called Ionic, framework for developing native and progressive web apps. Is Ionic. It is a top open source framework for building amazing mobile apps. And because Ionic is a beautiful, free, and open source mobile SDK for developing native and progressive web apps with easy to use. So this Ionic is pretty good, and it's the user interface design is very modern and good looking. So this is Ionic. And let's talk about how to organize your files developing mobile web apps. This is organizing files in directories or in your folders. So for example, for classic websites, they are looped, meaning that you can allocate all 3 folders. One is CSS for all CSS files. That's CSS. You can create a folder or directory called JS for all JavaScript files. And you can also create an image folder for all images. So this is the root for designing your class web. However, if you like to develop a mobile web apps, what you have to do is create an M folder for allocating all your files for your mobile applications. Design of M stands for mobile. So the same content and create a mobile version like this, M version for all HTML, CSS, and JavaScript like this. So let's talk about HTML5. You have some experience by creating HTML5 files, right? Here is the file, text file called index.html. And the most important part will be there is the declaration for this content. This is the lower smaller than, and is an exclamation mark and dot type HTML and greater sign. So these lines declare this document is not traditional TXT document. It's a HTML5 document. So from the pair HTML and slash HTML is a pair and with a head and body. So put your contents here, the body. So, and you also allocate some important header information on meta character set UTF-8, and this is a title. My title is here. So here is the HTML5 for design your content or allocate your structures by using index. And let me tell you what is structures in HTML5. Structures meaning that suppose you design a one-page HTML, one file HTML. There are some pages, some view or some screen, and you can navigate across to multiple screens. So that is the structures of your HTML. For example, this is the HTML5 game called Cut the Rope. Have you ever tried this web game before? This web game, Cut the Rope. Traditionally, this is designed with Objective-C for iPhone devices, Cut the Rope. But finally, they use JavaScript and HTML5 to design their same game. And the running effects almost the same by using Objective-C designed for iPhone. So their Cut the Rope can run on web, iPhone, and Android. So there is Cut the Rope purely HTML5 game. And here is the Objective-C to JavaScript. So as you can see, you can design Objective-C game application, but it is only running on iPhone, but it's not cross-platform. This reminds me, a lot of students in our department, in IMTKU, a lot of students, they design only JavaScript application. It is not a good practice for students design their game or their apps only Android application running on Android, because the students in our undergraduate program, the students when they are the second year students, what they know is Java only. They don't know they can use web technologies to design their final projects, their undergraduate graduation projects. even they are using HTML and JavaScript, they can design a very good application, very good information systems. The performance almost as good as they are writing Java or Objective-C. So the core is JavaScript, not Java, not Objective-C, it's JavaScript. So this record is available on the Apple's app stores as well as Android devices. And most important thing, you can run it on the web. Here is the HTML5 versions. Traditionally, you will notice that we are using HTML 4.01 is the year 1999. However, starting from 2014, we will be using HTML5 because HTML5 is powerful, especially designed for your cross-platform applications. So notice that. Please do not use HTML4 version for writing your HTML code. Using the modern standard is HTML5, right? So, because HTML5 is powerful, especially for mobile devices. So here is the dark type declaration. For HTML5, the declaration is pure, like this, HTML. And for HTML 4.01 is dark type HTML, public, wow, a lot of W3C, HTML 4. A lot of things you have to specify. And for XHTML 1.0, you will have to specify a lot of things. But HTML5 is clear, it's concise, it's simple, with the elegance of simplicity. HTML, that's it. So this is HTML5. So next time when you read a web page declared like this, is not HTML5. This is HTML5. So that's a major difference. Is that? So what is HTML5? HTML5 is a language for describing web page, and HTML5 stands for Hypertext Markup Language, and HTML5 is a markup language. A markup language is a set of markup text. So you know there is a keywords called tag, and text describe document contents. For example, its header is body with content. So HTML documents contain HTML text with a smaller and greater sign, and a plain text. This is a plain text. So HTML5 documents are also called web pages. So as you can see here, there are a lot of text. For example, HTML tag, head tag, body tag, and here is content, is pure text. Or you can also see here is title tag or meta tag, is tag under smaller sign and greater sign. So this HTML. And let me tell you the structures of HTML tag, element, and attributes. Suppose you are doing the spider to collect data, to crawl the data from the web page. You have to know what is the structures of HTML tag, especially JavaScript and CSS3. The most important for the collected content is from HTML, and when removing the tag, is the content, is the pure text. For example, here is the HTML elements. These elements with tag and its content. For the P tag, this is a paragraph, and for the tag name, this is the tag name and this is the content. So now you know the P tag and title tag. And we call this is an HTML element. And HTML documents contains a lot of HTML elements in the documents. Exclamation mark, dot type HTML tag. So here is HTML tag. So here we call this is a tag or start tag or opening tag with title. And here is the end tag or closing tag. So this is HTML elements. And what is attributes in HTML elements? It is very important, especially you are designing your JavaScript or CSS. Attribute plays an important role to rendering your page with different styles, different user interface, different colors. That is attributes. For example, here, meta tag with an attribute called character set or cat set equals UTF-8. So this is attribute for designing your character set. So let me tell you the importance of HTML5, because HTML5 is the new HTML standard, and what HTML is not HTML4 plus 1 is not, because it's whole new and the new HTML structures, elements, and attributes, and the new HTML5 form input types and attributes. For what is not HTML5? What HTML5 is not XHTML. Looks like this. For example, this is a div, right? And this is another div, because this is ID containers, and it's not HTML4 plus 1. And HTML5 is not just markup. It's not just text. It's also a set of JavaScript APIs. Notice here, HTML5 also contains some JavaScript APIs and provide a richer user interface. So your user interface looks like native applications running on web browser. So this is HTML5. So this is new HTML5 standards like this. That's HTML5. And the HTML5 is new HTML4 standards. What is new standards? Meaning that with new elements, new attributes, for CSS3 support, and you can play video and audio, for example, MP4, MP3, or video files, audio files, directly from HTML5, and also 2D or 3D graphics, and a powerful 3D graphical rendering, and local storage, and local SQL database, and web application. It's powerful developing tools by using HTML5. So as you can see, it's video, audio, local storage, and local SQL database and web applications. Just imagine, for your final project in this course, you have to design a final project apps, right, in this course. Suppose your applications would like to access the local storage or local SQL databases, or you have multimedia, audio or video, you can just use HTML5. It's embedded function. You don't need to another APIs. Just use HTML5. It's powerful by you collect all the data. And for example, it's pretty easy to play a video from your user interface, from your app. Suppose your apps would like to play a video. It's as simple as this. What you have to do is just add a video tag, like peep tag or dip tag. Video tag with the attributes. Width equals 320 and height 240 and is control. And specify the source. The source src, the source is movie.mp4. Right? So this video mp4 and the type equals video mp4. And suppose you have audio, the source, for example, movie.ogg or mp3. So the type is video.ogg or mp3 or mp4. And your browser, for example, suppose your browser is older, they do not support HTML5. So this up here, your browser is too old, do not support the video tag. And also its graphics, drawing graphic is easier than ever, and use canvas and elements, and using inline SVG and using CSS3, 3D or 3Ds. And here is easier local data, local file access, and local SQL, application cache, and JavaScript workers, and HTML and HTTP request too. This is important, especially if you like to design an app from your client to access to the cloud to collect data by using HTTP request, cross HTML request to collect data from the outside of your applications. You can use HTML5 functions. And this is semantic elements. For example, the headers, footers, menus, sections, and articles. So this new tag, you can get a lot of benefit by introducing these new elements for your HTML5 files design. So HTML5 forms, new forms, elements, new attributes, new input types, and automatic validation of your user input to your text input. So this is the forms, and also use CSS3. For example, you have new selectors. Notice here, it is very important by introducing selectors. Selectors plays a very important role in JavaScript framework like Bootstrap or jQuery mobile. So this is selectors, and also properties, animations, 2D or 3D, transformation, and rounded corners, shadow effects, and downloadable fonts. Emily, I have one question for you. Do you know what is selector? Like this? Selectors? Do you know what is selector? Have you ever written cloud or spider to collect data from the website? Have you ever developed a cloud or spider to collect data from the internet? You get the data by writing program to collect data from HTML, from the website. Have you ever try this? No. And how about HTML? How about CSS? Yep. Selectors is like you get the data from the internet. It is very important. Yep. And things to illustrate, and I suggest that we have 10 minutes break.